In Dayton, Ohio, the decade of the 1920s was an era of economic prosperity. Still, the American dream remained out of reach for many residents in the poorest areas of our city. Enter the Lutheran Intermission.
The intermission movement was designed to meet needs of people in inner cities. It began as a grassroots effort of congregations, of Lutheran congregations, in an era when congregations had a lot more significance and influence on our culture than they do today.
After incorporating in 1926, the Lutheran Intermission League of the Miami Valley would offer food, clothing, and counseling to families in need. In fact, in 1937, when Ohio River Valley flooding displaced thousands of families, the Intermission would join local congregations to offer relief. This vast relief effort spurred the creation of a new service line, Lutheran Industries.
And they operated this great program that actually became revenue producing for the organization, and we have some great photographs of all the Lutheran Industries trucks from the 1940s and 1950s that went out in the community and picked up items and so forth.
After the Great Depression, the Lutheran Intermission League grew rapidly to meet community needs as Dr. Forrest Stoneburner began what would become 30 years of leadership.
He would surround himself with people in the community who knew how to get things done, who knew the right people, who were well connected, and I think that made Lutheran Social Services a presence in the Dayton community that was very positive.
At the end of World War II, the Lutheran Intermission League made the bold decision to create a dedicated home for the aged.
And of course, this again is a different era. There weren't nursing homes. Nursing homes hadn't really been invented yet, and care of the elderly was primarily a family responsibility.
After much debate, they purchased a 100-acre farm in a remote site described as far south of Oakwood.
And we had fields, we had deer, and I could tell you about pheasants and quail and fox and possums. We're all back in that area.
That ended up being a great vision that grew into Bethany Village.
Through the 1950s and 60s, Bethany Lutheran Village grew rapidly, and so did the services of the Lutheran Intermission League.
Well, there were several divisions, and the one that was most interesting to me was the Family and Children's Department, because we were interested in adoption.
In a 42-year span as a licensed adoption agency, the newly renamed Lutheran Social Service of the Miami Valley placed more than 2,100 children with loving families.
Our daughter Beth was adopted in 1964. Our son David was adopted in 1967. And our daughter Krista was adopted in 1971.
In the 1980s and 90s, the organization became known as Lutheran Social Services and continued to address community needs as they arose, creating group homes for the intellectually disabled, establishing affordable housing for elderly and disabled adults with low incomes, offering financial counseling for the credit challenged. Dennis Bruce took the helm, leading the organization for 15 years.
I mean, everybody idolized him, there's no question. But he also had a business acumen about himself, and he was able to retain a lot of the things that were started.
In 2006, Lutheran Social Services became GraceWorks Lutheran Services, and today offers a wide range of residential and community services.
So we have this whole array of programs today that all evolved from this simple grassroots movement of congregations into this large organization that serves thousands of people in more than 50 program locations and in 3 states.
Bill Sayre has been a gift to GraceWorks. He's been dedicated and devoted, and he raises up excellent leaders. So you feel that sense of team leadership, so that it has been the strength of GraceWorks. Being part of that vision and leadership, there's just a high level of trust.
I think the core of faithful, caring has rested with the people who work on the front lines and deliver the care and services.
The niceness of the staff, of the management that I was introduced to initially, that hasn't changed. It hasn't changed at all. Just the numbers have increased.
Times have changed. Leaders have changed. Names have changed. But after 90 years, one simple truth is constant. GraceWorks Lutheran Services remains deeply and firmly faithful to Christ.
Well, my prayer is that GraceWorks continues to strive for excellence and promote a quality of love for our neighbor. And I think we've been learning that for so many years. And so it'll be interesting to see what the next generation may look like when it comes to care and homes and communities. But I think GraceWorks has a real calling to be part of that fabric.